Hi there! Today I want to talk to you about some mods that I did to a Squier Classic Vibe Telecaster Custom Baritone, or something in that order. First of all, I'd like to apologize for being very naked. It is extremely hot in here. So, let me show you the guitar. Here it is. This Squier Telecaster Custom Baritone, it's a really cool guitar out of the box. I mean, it's a double bound Telecaster. That's cool. It's got a baritone neck. That's super cool. And it's from the Classic Vibe series, which means it's built very well. Like, the paint is excellent, the neck is nice, the frets are well done. I mean, it's a good guitar already. But it is also a cheap guitar, and a cheap guitar is your cheap ticket to a cheap custom guitar, I thought. So I messed around with it. Let me run you through the mods. First of all, I gave it a good setup, because this is a cheap guitar, which means nobody spent hours on fine-tuning it, making sure it's the best instrument it can be. But you can. So, I took the strings of the guitar and I took the neck of the guitar. Then I went over all the frets and polished them and made sure the edges of the frets were nice. Then I rolled the edges of the fingerboard. You can do this with a glass slide or with a bottle. You just run it over the edge of the fingerboard and it will kind of break it in a bit. Then with some steel wool I took some lacquer up the back of the neck. I think you can see that. It's a little less glossy than it used to be. And this makes it feel smoother in the hand. It's nicer to play, faster to play. Then I took the lacquer off the neck where it fits in the body, so at the neck pocket, and I did the same on the guitar. This gives you a stronger wood-on-wood connection with no lacquer interfering with the transfer of vibrations and what have you. I think that's about all I did to the neck. The tuners are good, so I just left them on. I lubed the nut because it was a bit unlubed. No, it's not, it's very lubed now. And then finally I oiled the fretboard with lemon oil to make it a bit darker and a bit juicier. I mean, is that the word you use? Like, it looked dry. It doesn't look dry anymore. And so all of that together turned this neck into the neck it needs to be for me. It's smoother, it's nicer to play, it feels better in the hand, it's faster, it's a better neck. I put that back on the guitar, and now this is where the cooler part starts. Time to start modding the electronics. When it comes from the factory, this guitar is set up like a standard Classic Vibe Telecaster, so 2 pickups, 3-way switch, and a tone and a volume knob, and it sounds good. There's no problem with it, it's a nice guitar. But I wanted something different, something to me cooler, and I really like Esquires. I like how they look. I also like SD Juniors and trashy old German guitars with just 1 pickup. I like single pickup guitars. I think they're cool, I think they have some presence that other guitars might not have. They force me to think in a different way. So I decided to turn this into an Esquire. But I still wanted some flexibility, so I got thinking, like, what does it need? And I got in touch with a pickup winder from Croatia and described what I wanted. I said, I need a classic Teletone. And then I also want to have like a very powerful, almost humbucking Johnny Greenwood kind of lead sound, and I'd like to have it from 1 pickup. So he suggested a tapped pickup with a low output and a high output. So it's just a single coil, but it has the wire around it, basically has a lead out somewhere in the middle, so you have a low output and a high output. We discussed a bit on the specs, on the kind of magnets, on the wire, and then he made me this pickup. It's a one-off custom scatter wound pickup made especially for this guitar. Now, so that gave me 2 core sounds, but I thought, okay, what else do I want to do with it? I'm not a fan of tone knobs, so I kicked the tone knob out. And then since I already had a big jump in volume between the tapped and untapped part of the pickup, I also kicked the volume knob out. And then instead I put in a 4-way switch, so a 4-way Telecaster switch. And now I have 4 sounds. So first I have my basic Telecaster sound, like a sweet 60s twangy Telecaster. Then I have a modified version of the Fender Esquire bass circuit. It's a bit less muffled, it's got a bit more highs that are contained in it. To me, it has some hints of an archtop guitar and of an acoustic. It's very nice to lay down pads or to lay down like subtle background stuff. Yeah, so that's setting number 2. Setting number 3 is the high output, but with a cap wired over it, so you get this kind of cocteau resonant peak sound, not unlike Brian May. Quite powerful, very mid-focused. And then the 4th position is like all-on high gain output, which is just a punchy mids, but like richer than the previous position. Like this kind of, yeah, all-out sound. So that's 4 sounds in one single pickup Telecaster. I had some holes left that were previously occupied by tone and volume knobs, so I did what I like to do with those. Put in a kill switch, and I covered the rest up with stars, which makes it look a bit like an old accordion or a merry-go-round from the 60s. I think that's cool. I like it. It's a bit trashy. Other than that, I put on compensated brass saddles, because the saddles are one of the only bits on the stock guitar that are not good. And I put on an ashtray cover, look at that, and an abalone or fake abalone pickguard. So I think it looks cool. I'll blend in some pictures that actually make it look cool. And that's the new guitar. It's minimalist, but it can do lots of things. It rocks hard, but it's also sweet. It's a nuanced, nice instrument. It feels much more special than it used to do. I think not just because I put the work in, but because it is a bit unique. The pickup is miles better, and you have this flexibility in the tone, which it didn't used to have. It does something different from other guitars, so I like it. To make it even more different, I put on flat wound strings. You try sourcing a set of flat wound baritone strings. It's not easy. I like them because with a fuzz on, you get this almost synthy, very straight tone, which I enjoy. So that's that. And that's the guitar. I guess I've talked for long enough, and maybe you might want to hear it, right? So I'll go through all the positions and then play a little song that features all of the sounds of this guitar. Enjoy, and thank you for watching.